Okay, good evening. Thank you all for joining. Hey, Sue. Very good. I want to share some thoughts. There was a time not too long ago where the news wasn't really so new. No microphone or camera. Okay, for you. You can all hear me, right? Yes? Yeah. Okay. There was a time when news was not so new. It's the same old stuff. And just kind of repeating, some light crimes, a couple of murders, politics, and more politics, standard procedure. But as of recent, there have been such new things that have not been as certainly we have experienced before. Pandemic, a world shutting down, economies, people dying, modern medicine not able to tackle it, not able to understand, studies changing every single day. The world is at its knees, incapable of figuring this virus out. Dr. Fauci, I was astounded. He's the world expert, and he had said, it's so humbling not to know what this thing is doing. Humbling, no question about it. And amidst all of this, people dying, economic crisis, and now we have riots, and we have the death of George Floyd. It's complicated, yet so simple. No one should have to die because of the color of their skin. Every human being was created in the image of Hashem, B'Tselem Elokim. Every human being. And even if someone did something wrong, no reason to be killed in the way that he was, as it would appear. On the other hand, you can't kill other people. You can't have riots. You can't destroy people's businesses. You can't loot. You can't steal. You can't destroy. You can't murder innocent people. Crazy, madness, anarchy. It's bizarre what we're seeing in such a sophisticated society. And yet in many ways, as it says in Kohelet, saying, that there's nothing new under the sun, There have been riots before, there have been protests before, there has been murder, there have been pandemics. Every situation is unique, but we're experiencing such unusual times. There are some very important lessons that we should be culling from all of these events. Pandemic has taught us about the importance of essentials. What is truly essential? What is not? It has taught us about our capabilities, what we're able to handle, what we're not. It may be very telling of different people. We must learn from this incident with George Floyd to have our utmost sensitivity to all human beings. We must also now recognize how to respond when there is a wrong and how not to respond. We see very clearly how not to respond. And yet it's mind-boggling that people in power are practically promoting it without recognizing that innocent lives are at stake. We want to make sure everyone is safe. We want to make sure that everyone is treated equally and fairly. There always needs to be a proper balance. We have to recognize that the police are our friends. They are there to protect us. Yet there is human weakness, vulnerability, where when people are in positions of power, they may take advantage. And it may be very easy for a police officer to feel superior and extend his force upon others. These are all lessons that we must take, whatever the truth actually is in these situations. We must walk away from lessons with these lessons. The world is upside down. The world is on its knees. The world is in a state of anarchy, something we would not really have expected to witness in this country. Sophistication, science, the top of the line, seems to matter very little, yet it is saving many lives, but they know so little with this. Yet, in the same week, we're sending astronauts into outer space. We know it all, we know nothing.
It says
A
Morty
nation of freedom, a nation
Rabbi,
of...
maybe people should mute themselves.
Okay, if people... Okay, I think I took care of that for you, or them. Okay, I'm just going to mute everyone so that it doesn't disturb. Okay. So it's so interesting how we know so much, yet we know so little. We're the most sensitive, most compassionate of nations with our democracy, with our kindness. We've always referred to it as a Medina Shel Chesed, a country of Chesed, yet there still is racism. Is it exaggerated? Each for his own to decide. Are there problems? There are definitely problems. So sophisticated, yet reacting with violence in a barbaric way. Destroying, murdering. Where are we? Are we sending people to the moon and sophisticated? Or are we clueless and we can't figure out this virus? Are we compassionate or are we evil? What in the world is going on? It's hard to understand. And of course, there are aspects of sophistication, aspects of weakness. Ultimately, we see true wisdom lies with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. True compassion lies with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem is in charge, and we must learn from all of these lessons and emulate the ways of Hashem to become shining examples of how to act and how to react to situations. We are having very new situations thrown at us lately. Our lives have been very different lately. And we're at a point where we seem to see some change in phase, something that we welcome, hoping for some normalcy in life. If that will happen again, Gamze Yavor, it will pass. Eventually we'll arrive there. Everything needs to proceed with caution. But we always have to be ready for curveballs in life. There are always new things and unusual new things. And it's always very important for us to know how to react and how to respond and how to rise above it and be a shining example. There's no question we need a lot of bracha. We need a lot of bracha. A lot of bracha. There's a story told about the Baal Shem Tov. And he asked his Talmidim, all of his students, his Hasidim, he asked them, which gate of heaven is the most important? In other words, what do you need most in life? What will be the best thing for you to have in life? I'm going to skip some of the details, but one of the answers that was given was what we need is what is called siyata dishmaya. We need help from heaven, heavenly help. We need heavenly assistance. If you have that, you have it all. If you don't have that, you have nothing. You can try and try, but ultimately, man tries and God succeeds. God, Hashem, is the one who brings it to fruition. If we don't have siyata dishmaya, if Hashem is not helping us, we will not accomplish anything. And we can be doing the best, and the worst of things can happen, and we can not be doing so well, and Hashem can help us and lift us up as well. Hashem is in charge. We need to be connected, and we need that siyata dishmaya, that heavenly help. We need a lot of bracha. In this week's parsha, we find a lot of bracha. We find the birchas kohanim, the duchening, the priestly blessings that we are also familiar with. The psukim are loaded with bracha. And first I'd like to go through some of these psukim to give us a deeper understanding of these psukim. Unfortunately, here in Scranton, we don't get to hear them often enough. We have very few kohanim, and we don't often have duchening even on Yantif. In Eretz Yisrael, they're duchening every single day. The Sfardim also in America and Chutz La'aretz, in the diaspora, duchen, they do the Birchas Kohanim, the priestly blessings every single day, but our Minhag Ashkenaz is not that way. We only do it on Yantif. The reason for that is because it's a very, very special bracha, an extremely special bracha, an extremely powerful bracha. And it can only be done at a time of simcha. When a person is in a state of happiness, the bracha can only be conveyed and only run through the conduits, the funnels to reach the people when the kohanim, the vehicles of transporting this bracha, are happy, are in a state of simcha. So at Yantif, that is such a time, especially in Chutz La'aretz, where times may be more troubling. So on an average day, we may not be in that state of simcha. Someone who is an avel, a mourner, the minhag is not to confer this bracha. One is not in that state of simcha. Being in a proper state of mind helps to convey a proper simcha, not a proper bracha. So I want to go through some of the psukim, see Rashi, the Balaturim, the Kli Yakar, and just give us a sense that there's so much more than meets the eye. Much of what I'm going to discuss here is above us. It's above my pay grade, for sure. We're going to be touching the tip of the iceberg, but that's very important to do because we need to know that we are connected to something that is much higher than us. If we were to understand everything in this world, we could be God. We're not God. We're serving a higher power. It's so important for us to connect to things that we only understand just a little bit, just a little taste, a sense of something higher, something much more powerful, something beyond us. So let's take a look at the psukim. The famous psukim, these psukim that are, of course, reserved for the Kohanim to give, but many have the minhag that every Friday night, a father gives these brachos to his children, giving them these brachos as well, even though he's not a Kohen, but these psukim are words of bracha. I'll share with you a brief idea. It's something I think about often. Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach was known to be a big tzaddik, the Gadol Hadar, Torah giant. His children as well, each one, outstanding Talmidei Chachamim, Gedolei Hadar, Torah giants. And someone asked him, what did you do? What's your secret? Doesn't every parent want to know what's the secret recipe? What do you do? I'm sorry, they didn't ask Rav Shlomo Zalman, they asked his son. They asked one of the children, what was your father's secret? Listen to what he said. He said, I cannot tell you what the secret is, but one thing I can tell you, every Friday night, when my father gave me a bracha, my yarmulke was wet from tears. A parent crying for his children, for what matters most, That's the secret. We daven for our children. We try to set examples. That deep care, those tears, makes me tear up every time I say this story. So these are very important psukim for us to understand. It will give us a sense we're part of something so big, so massive, so amazing. Let's take a brief look at these psukim. Hashem says to Moshe to tell the people, Daber el Aaron v'elbonav lemor, tell Aaron and his sons to say, to convey, to confer. Kos sevorchu es b'nei Yisrael, so you shall bless b'nei Yisrael amor lahem. And you should say to them, Yivarecha Hashem v'yishmerecha. Hashem should bless you and he should protect you. Sounds simple enough. Yo'er Hashem panav elecha v'yichunecha. Hashem should illuminate his face, his countenance towards you. V'yichunecha, and give you chen, give you favor and countenance as well. Yiso Hashem panav elecha. Hashem should lift up his face towards you. V'yosem lecha shalom, and he should grant you peace. Sounds beautiful, sounds simple. V'samu es shemi al b'nei Yisrael, and they shall place my name. The Kohanim shall place my name upon the Jewish people. V'ani avorchem, and I shall bless them. Let's go in levels, in layers, trying to understand these psukim. It's so beautiful to go deeper. Art Scroll is beautiful and wonderful and amazing and liberating for so many, giving them access to so much. But it's important to understand how locked in one is when one is limited to an English translation. You may only understand it by the word that they offer to you. And they're only going to tell you a certain amount of commentary. There's so much more. It's the tip of the iceberg. We must always remember that. We take advantage of being able to touch the tip, but we must understand it is only the tip. Let's look at Rashi. Rashi says, Amor lahem, the Kohanim should say it to them. It's written with a vav, aleph mem, vav reish, in the fullest form. The saying, the conferring of the bracha, needs to be in fullest form. It can't be done in a rush. It can't be done, while checking your emails, while thinking about your business. It has to be with a proper frame of mind. B'kavana ubelev shalem, with focus, concentration, and with a full heart. That's how this bracha needs to be conveyed. We know the Kohanim face us. We're face to face. There needs to be a connection. There needs to be a connection and a focus. A focus. You're not allowed to turn your face away even from them. You're not supposed to look. They cover their hands because the Shekhinah is upon their hands. The divine presence is upon them. And we may not even look at such a holy sight. We would never want to become desensitized. They're focusing on us with all their hearts. The bracha, Yivarechecha, Sheyisbarchu Nechasecha, Rashi says, it's a bracha that your property should have bracha. There shouldn't be economic downfall. There shouldn't be struggle with your bills. It shouldn't be difficult to pay tuition. That's a bracha that so many need. V'yishmerecha. And Hashem should protect you. Not like a king who may give you a present, but as soon as he gives you the present, you're on your own. He can give you a Rolls Royce, but if you're parked in Manhattan, there it goes. Watch it roll down the street. You can have the nicest of things, but all of the alarm systems, all of the security systems can all be smashed and exploded with riots, and it can all be lost. But Hashem will protect your property because only Hashem can protect you. Right now we see the police cannot protect us. The country cannot protect us. That's a frightening thought. The Mishnah in Pirkei Avos says, "Umole mora shel malchus," if not for the fear of the government. Ish chaim baluis re'eu, each person will swallow his friend alive. Won't even kill him first and then swallow him. Swallow him alive. There's no hope. Only Hashem can offer a true protection. Yo'er Hashem panav elecha. Hashem should illuminate, show his face of countenance. Rashi says he should show you a shining face. Do we understand what that means? For Hashem to show us a shining face? When Moshe wanted to see Hashem, he could not even see Hashem. He asked to see him. Hashem said, you could see the back of my tefillin, the back of my head, and he saw the knots, meaning you can't see Hashem's essence. But in some way, Hashem is facing us and showing us a face of radiance. What kind of bracha must that come with? That is bracha that no human being can provide us. V'yichuneka, and he'll give you chen, the bracha of chen. What a special bracha. Chen, to have favor. You could be the nicest person in the world, and yet you can have people after you. Chen is a gift, where people just like you, where people just are happy with you, and they're not ridiculing and chopping you down at the legs for every minor infraction that they think that you did, you may not have even done. Chen is a bracha. Hashem gave us that bracha of chen. It's a gift, the Vilna Gaon says, that can only come from Hashem. You may be the biggest tzaddik. People will not necessarily find favor with you. It's not an automatic thing. Chen, finding favor in people's eyes, where people just like you, a certain charm. That's a gift from Hashem. Hashem gave us chen when we left Mitzrayim. And the Mitzrayim, here, take our money. Take whatever you like. Please leave. Do whatever you want. That's a gift. V'yichuneka, to find favor, where you're walking down the street and you don't feel like people are staring at you because you're a Jew. You could be the biggest tzaddik, but we want chen. We want favor in the eyes of all, where everyone likes us, where everyone sees the importance of our mission and what we're doing. A gift from Hashem, a bracha that we all need. Yisa Hashem panav elecha v'yosem lecha shalom. Hashem should lift up his face and grant you shalom. Rashi says Hashem should lift up his face towards you. He should conquer his anger. In other words, not that Hashem has a temper problem. It means even at times where it is fitting for Hashem to be angry with us, not out of control. Hashem is never out of control. But at a time where it is fitting for Hashem to be upset with us, he will still, due to his compassion, like a father, like a mother to a child, crying on the child's yarmulke, conquering over that tendency to reprimand and show love. And Hashem says, they will put my name upon the Bnei Yisrael, and I will bless them. What does that mean? Who's blessing them? It can't mean Hashem is blessing them. It's the Kohanim's bracha. The Kohanim are blessing us. They're giving us bracha, not Hashem. So Rashi says, V'askim im Kohanim, I will agree to their bracha. They're giving a bracha, I will agree. When you have Hashem's validation, that's quite a bracha. Rashi offers an alternative explanation. I will give the Kohanim bracha. There's so much more to discuss. I realized that I didn't even get to the tip of the iceberg. Bala Turim's, a few short ideas, just to give you a little sense. Ko Sabarchu, it starts off, Ko. So shall you bless. Ko, Chaf Hey is the gematria numerical value of 25. There are 25 letters in the pasuk of Shema Yisrael. It says in the Torah, says the Baal Turim, 25 times a language of bracha in the Chumash. It says 25 times the expression of shalom, of peace in the Chumash. And so the Birchas Kohanim starts, ko, and it finishes with shalom. We need shalom. We need peace. You know what shalom is? Shalom is not people not smashing, not people not smashing your, good one. Not people not smashing your windshields. When people are not smashing your windshields and looting your stores and killing innocent people, that's not shalom. That's just lack of warfare, lack of barbarism. Shalom is the different musical instruments playing together in a symphony. We say in davening, Oseh Shalom b'mromov, the Malbim says over here, there should be peace with the Malachim. They're not fighting with each other. What does there need to be shalom there for? The answer is it's not because they're fighting. It's that they should all work together. Each has a different mission. So too every Jew has a different mission. But to work collectively, that's a whole different story. That's a beauty. That is shalom. That's actually one of the names of Hashem. You're not allowed to say shalom in a bathroom. There's a question if you're allowed to call someone whose name is shalom in the bathroom. So the Mishnah Berurah says, call him shalom, shalom, with a nun, not a mem. Okay. In any case, it's a name of Hashem because we see something beautiful when everyone works together. We need shalom. There's so much more here. I don't even know where to begin. Give you a brief idea. There's so much more going on. The Chazan is the one who first says the bracha for the Kohen to repeat. The Kli Yakar says, this is how it has to be. First, the Chazan is, so to speak, filling the Kohen with bracha, so his cup should overflow onto everyone else. And this is the system of bracha. The Kli Yakar says here, it's written right next to the portion of the Nazir who abstains from wine. Wine is something which is very special. It has its own bracha. Fruits, you just make a shahakal on the juice, apple juice, orange juice. But the juice of grapes is different. It gets its own bracha, borei pri hagafen. It has so much bracha to it, yet it causes so much klola, so much damage. Noach failed. Adam Arishon failed with it according to one opinion. That was the Eitz Hadas, was a grapevine. We actually rectified by using it for Kiddush on Friday night. So much going on here. 10 fingers, 10 different parts of the body, the things the parents put in, Hashem puts in, physical bracha, spiritual bracha. I have to cut it short. There's so much more to talk about. We could spend hours going through the Balaturim, the Kli Yakar. I want to make sure I get in some ideas here. There's so much bracha in store. I want to share with you a very important idea. Ko. So shall the Kohanim bless. Ko. The gematria of Ko, as we said, is 25. The Rabbeinu Bachai says, and so does the Kli Yakar, we know that the Gemara speaks of 24 matnos kahuna, priestly gifts, different things that are given to the Kohen, like truma and different parts of the animals from karbanos. There are 24. This makes 25. Chaf hey, kosavarchu. The priestly blessings that they confer to the people is a gift to the Kohanim. The Kli Yakar asks the obvious question: how is this a gift? What are they getting out of it? It's what they are giving. All of the other things are what they are receiving. The Kohanim receive different gifts. Kosavarchu, gift number 25. The magic number 25, we spoke about so many 25s, and the Balaturim goes on, and the Kli Yakar goes on about the number 25, and Kosavarchu, and Abraham, Ko Yeh Zaracha. There's so much going on here. What is the gift of the bracha? I would like to suggest, the Kli Yakar has his own answer. I would like to suggest the gift of the Kohanim is that they are able to give bracha. It is the gift to be able to give someone bracha like this. You have the power to give bracha to someone like this. What a gift, so you don't get anything for yourself. There's a story told. There was a king, and he invited the people to a big feast. He told them the date. Dress up in your fanciest of clothing. You will have the finest of delicacies. And everyone's so excited, and the time arrives, and everyone's dressed in their best. And everyone is all ready to go. The line is out the door. And they're waiting for the entrance to be allowed in. They come in. Everything is stunning. Everything looks delicious. The king says you can have whatever you'd like. There's only one rule. You have to eat with the fork, and you have to hold the end of the fork from the far end. And he gave them these very long forks. Very, very long. And everyone they couldn't fit, they're frustrated out of their minds. They're trying this, trying that. It's too long. I can't do it. They were given a time limit how long they can remain at the feast. They're getting frustrated. They're getting angry. Time is up. And they're hungry. Sometime later, he invites the Jews. And he does the same thing. And they come in. And they're all dressed. And they're waiting. And they find out the news of this rule. But what do they start to do? Everyone is having a great time. Because instead of trying to feed themselves, each one fed the other person. If you're thinking about yourself, you're going to lose out. The Kohanim have a gift that they are able to give bracha. We as Klal Yisrael have a gift as well.
Oh, okay.
So much bracha comes. So much bracha comes when we keep the Torah, when we make a Kiddush Hashem, when we are shining examples. We bring bracha to the world. We bring bracha to the world. It's not for us to be thinking about what we can gain. It's for us to be thinking, what can we do for the world? What can we do for those around us? We can give so much bracha. We keep the Torah, we daven. As we mentioned in the beginning, there are many lessons that we need to cull from the current events. Let me express this with a Rashi in this week's parsha. We have the parsha, the mitzvah here of the sota, the woman who has betrayed her husband. Her husband warned her to stop being with that guy, and she didn't listen. And he said, do not go into seclusion, and she doesn't listen. And there are witnesses that he warned her, and she doesn't listen, and she goes in seclusion with this man. And there are witnesses that she went into seclusion, and that she didn't listen. We don't know what happened behind closed doors. So we cannot punish her in any basin. We do not know. But she is given special waters where Hashem's name is erased into it. And she drinks it. And if she is innocent, she will have bracha from it. But if she is guilty, she will die. She will practically explode. And the man as well. The man as well. Right next to this, we learn about the Nazir. The Nazir is the one who abstains from wine. And he takes extra restrictions upon himself to bring himself to a higher level. Why are these two portions, parshios, written right next to each other? So Rashi says, because the person who saw this woman die when she drank those waters, he understands, wine can get you in a lot of trouble. You drink a little too much, and it gets you into big trouble. And it leads to things like this. It leads to things like this. So I need to abstain from wine. I saw the great tragedy of a human life be lost because this is what wine usually leads to. So commonly, I need to abstain. Now let's think about this for a moment. This could have led to riots. There could have been protests against all of the unfaithful women and all the unfaithful men, and there could have been riots about this and looting and utter destruction. Or other people may have been fighting the other way. It's not fair for a woman or a man to die. They acted out of consent. That's their business. So what if they betrayed a spouse? There could have been riots in that way too. The Torah teaches us how to react and how to respond. The way we react and the way we respond to any given situation is through internal improvement. There's right and wrong in this world, and we have to always be better. And I see that wine leads down a bad path. I need to abstain. Rav Dessler says something else. He adds, why does this person need to stay away from wine? He knows on his own now. He doesn't have to take a vow. He saw the damaging effects. He has clarity for the damage. He needs to take extra precautions. It's clear in his mind right now. This is the clearest he's ever been in his life about the damaging effects of alcohol. He needs to make a vow to prohibit it upon himself. He can't even have grape lollipops. The answer is yes. Because, says Rav Dessler, if you understand something with greater clarity, with greater depth, then you have an obligation to do more and to serve Hashem on a higher level. So we walk away from these events while the world does not understand at all how to respond, how to react. Responding with anger, violence only breeds violence. It will only promote racism. It will only promote lack of sensitivity to human life and human property. It's certainly not an answer. But we have to walk away with the lessons. And we have to be more sensitive to every human being, Jew and non-Jew alike. We have to be extra sensitive to people's property. We have to be extra sensitive through this pandemic to other people's health, our own health. We have to be extra sensitive to what is considered to be essential in life. What do we really need and what do we really not need? And because we are so clear right now, we need to take things to the next level. I'd like to conclude with one final thought. We are approaching another phase, so it seems to be. And discussions of the shul opening are starting, and we will be talking to the membership, and we will be having discussions. Stay tuned, of course, with precautions, the right time and the right way in the right venue. We seem to be approaching another phase, of course, with caution. We have been without a shul for so long. It's enough really to bring tears. I had to walk into the shul a couple of times to see it empty. Others have told me the same. It's really sad. It's really enough to make any of us cry. We know what the shul means to us. And now we're about to embark upon a moment where we're looking upon re-entry. Things will happen in phases, different steps to be done with proper precautions so that everyone is safe. Life is paramount. We recognize that. That's why we have been closed. But now we need to think a little bit deeper. And we need to think about how we can walk away from this all and re-enter as different people and make it a different shul. We have developed, hopefully, many new sensitivities for davening. You know, when you're with a minyan, so it counts. Like, we feel like, you know, I went to minyan, so my davening counted. But when we're home alone, I think it hits us. If you don't have kavanah, if you don't have concentration, if you're not thinking about what you're doing, if you're not actually connecting to Hashem and developing your relationship, I think we know it doesn't really count. And we don't feel that it counted. So what are the essentials of davening? That means the essentials of davening are really connecting, really developing our relationship. We should have such a heightened sensitivity to how we act now in shul. What are our true essentials? As we're walking away from these riots, taking a lesson away, we should be having extra sensitivity to human life, to every human being, to people's property, acting with greater decency, making a kiddush shem shemayim. I'll conclude with this thought. At the end of the parsha, towards the end, we learn about a new beginning. The dedication of the Mishkan, a brand new Mishkan, never had before. This is the equivalent of the Beis HaMikdash. Our shul is a Mishkan Ma'at, is a Beis HaMikdash Ma'at, a miniature Mishkan, a miniature Beis HaMikdash. That is what a shul is. And in this week's parsha, we learn about this dedication, the inauguration. And there's something very interesting. Each nasi, each head of the tribe, offers karbonos. And you go through the parsha and it sounds so repetitive. You know why it sounds so repetitive? You get to these karbonos and the words are the exact same. You know why the words are the exact same? Because each leader is offering the exact same thing. Come on, how boring can that be? This is a time of festivities, fireworks. Show a little personality. Show a little, uniqueness. Show a little individuality. Let's show your personal input into this dedication. Everyone's bringing the same thing. This many animals, this many libations. We read it over and over. We do the same thing. We all go to shul and we all say the same words day in and day out. 3 times a day, the same words. So where is our individuality? Where is our personality? Precisely there. It is you. If they would bring other karbonos, different animals, different offerings, those would be trappings. You think that extra animal expresses who you are? There's only one thing that can express who you are, and that's you. That's your essence. That's putting your heart into it, your mind into it, the way you think, the way you feel, how it applies to your individual life. It gets rid of all of the external trappings. That's not you. That extra animal, that's not you. And hopefully that is a lesson that we have learned. There are trappings when we get together. People are watching, we act differently. We went to a minyan, it counted. We can lose ourselves where we're not into it, where we think that if we dress a little bit differently, if we have a different siddur, we have a different talis, we have a different tie on. So that's our individuality, a different piece of jewelry. And all of these external trappings, the world is full of this. The world can't get enough of this, tattooing their entire body, piercing the entire body. I got to do it a little bit different than everyone else. These are trappings that cause individuality to be lost, not found. Because now you lost who you really are. And now it's all about your tattoo and your piercing. It's all about what kind of car you have, what kind of house you have, what kind of suit you have, what kind of dress you have. But when you take it all away, and it's all the same every day, you get yourself involved. You're internally involved, you yourself. This is how we must embark on our new Mishkan Ma'at, our new shul, with a greater sensitivity towards davening, how we act, what we do, really internalizing what Hashem wants from us, seeing a world in total anarchy, down on its knees. And we will shine with a greater relationship with Hashem, a greater sensitivity to every human being, a greater sensitivity to people's property, to the world around us. And we have that power of bracha, the greatest gift. We can bring that bracha to the world. And we can bring bracha when we daven alone. And when we daven together, it's a whole different ball game. When we put ourselves into it, not as 10 human beings, but as 10 neshamas really connected and really coming together and really involved with each other, then it's a different davening, it's a different shul, it's a different world. Then we're not feeding ourselves, we're feeding other people. And we have the gift of bracha to make this world a better place, to bring the ultimate bracha, may we be zocheh, to the ultimate bracha of the rebuilding, not only of our shul, but the rebuilding of the grand shul, the grand Beis HaMikdash. The Beis HaMikdash, may we be zocheh through its rebuilding, and the coming of Mashiach b'mheira of Yameinu. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all for
Shukran.
joining.
Thank you, Rabbi.